So let's start. So most of the participant, I think they are pursuing their PhD. So the most important thing is that choosing PhD topic is most challenging part in any research. We can say it is the base and starting point of the research. If you don't choose the appropriate topic, then there are chances might be end your research at that stage or might be the things may collapse. So whenever you choose the topic, then topic should be from your desired area or from the area of interest. The most important thing is that before selection of the topic, the most important thing is the study of the background area, or you have to do lot of referencing. Once you realize that lot of work has been done, then you may not able to add any new things in that topic. But here you can look at the specific area with different perception. So the first point, as I would like to tell you that the selection of topic is the most important area, and for that you have to go for a lot of references. Here you have to, while referencing, you have to find out the research gap. Research gap means the work which would left unexplored by the previous researchers. Then the second important point is that what your topic you have chosen or you are going to choose, the topic must be open-ended. Once you choose the topic, then you have to be very clear for your objectives. Because to fulfill the objectives, you have to be very specific for your parameters. Parameters are most important because when you choose the parameters, you have to provide justification of the parameters. So we start with the review of literature. So always, whether you would like to go for the research, or if you would like to pursue your PhD degree, or if you would like to write the research paper, then the most important thing is that you have to begin with the review of literature. Why the review of literature? Because it helps to understand the entire spectrum of the topic or the entire spectrum of the domain, whatever in which area you would like to work. So review provide the kind of work has been done in that area. And at the same time, it also helps to understand the scientific method. So, as I said in the beginning, only the most important thing is to find out the research gap. So, here also I would like to tell you that. So, research topic, when you select the topic, then always it must be unique, or you have to find out with the review of literature. It's possible to find out how your topic is unique or how unique does your topic need to be. Then when you go for the research gap, the review of literature for the thesis, when you write specifically review of literature for the thesis, then you have to introduce your topic in the beginning. After that, you have to provide justification for the selected topic, then the importance of your topic, then about various parameters, the same time the justification of each parameter, then scope of the topic or the future of the topic, and finally you have to mention the objectives, your objectives, what your objectives are there. The most important thing is that the review must be like a story. you have to begin with the introduction, then background, then the importance of your topic, then various parameters, research gap, and obviously it end with the objectives. But when you write the when you would like to publish the review of literature on your topic, then you will find some differences here. For the thesis, as I said, you have to go for the justification of the parameters, feature of the topic, and they mention the objectives. But when you go for the publish the review paper, then the scenario is different, the things are different. So first of all, try to understand what the difference between the review and the research paper. In case of research paper, always the researcher perform the experiment, then the analysis of the experiment, then the next point is the result and interpretation. Whatever result researcher obtained, that data must there is interpretation of the data. Then here abstract, introduction, material methods, result, conclusion, and references. In case of the research paper, but in case of the review, you will find review is simply the compilation and analysis of the research work done by the previous researcher. So the first important thing is the compilation and analysis. So here the review paper include the abstract, then background section, then discussion, and finally your comments or the conclusion. So when we write the review paper, I'm not talking about the thesis now, I'm talking about the review paper, how to write the review paper, because the research work must be begin with the review. And if you publish the review paper, then definitely you will get the credit of that. So in case of the review paper, is a piece of work based on the previously published research article or the review articles. The narrative, you have to fix the narrative, and obviously you have to write the text, write the review thoughtfully. In most of the research journals, if you go through the various journals, standard journals, then you will find some kind of limitation of the words. So maximum here you can say to 3000 to 5000 words. So in case of the review paper, first of all, as I said, you have to write the background, then the purpose of the review, then deliverables, what you are going to deliver exactly, then what are the challenges in that particular domain or the particular area, then what are the gaps. Here always we aware the researchers, we aware the readers, the gap, specific research gap, then the correlations, table, graphs, and finally the conclusion or inferences. These are the points which you have to include in the review paper. So whenever you go for the review paper, or when you would like to review the write the review of literature, then obviously references are most important. Then how to find out the references? For the references, you have to use few search engine and the databases. For example, here you can see on the screen, you will find the names of the engines. For example, the PubMed, then Google Scholar, Web of Science, Scopus, Core, Europe PMC, Science.gov, and Bioindex. So these are the few important engine. These are the search engine you can use to find out the references. So do not rely on anyone. For example, Google Scholar, do not rely on that, because review is the absolute compilation of the research work done by the other researchers. So for that, you have to use the different search engine. So here we have to go for all these search engine to find out the different research papers. Then once you get the research papers, then the management is most important. Handling of the papers are most important. So nowadays you will find the different management tools, reference management tools. You can use these tools to organize your references. Here you can see the few important tools. For example, Mendeley, which is very popular nowadays. So Zotero is also used, Read Club, or the Wheel or the Referrals. These are the few important tools, reference management tools you can use to organize your references. So here, this is again the important point, because when you write the thesis or when you write the research paper, okay, while writing the text, number of times you came with the specific references, and at that time you won't get that particular reference, which is far more important to clear the concept. So if you go for this, if you use the reference management tools, then definitely it will easy to find out a specific references or the appropriate references or appropriate reference which you need when you write the text. So this is the format of the review paper. Title of the paper. Always you have to begin the title, obviously, reflecting the topic of the review. The title must be catchy and self-explanatory. Then your name, affiliation means your college name or institute name. Then go for the abstract, approximately 200 to 300 words. Here you need to write the summary of the work, brief summary you have to provide. And the most important thing is that if you go through the standard scientific journal, then you will not find references in the abstract part. Means no need to write the references in the abstract. Once you finish the abstract, then the introduction, but I will suggest first of all to complete the paper, means complete the introduction, body part, conclusions, literature cited, and go through the text 2 3 times, and after that definitely it will very easy to write the abstract of the review paper or even the abstract of the research paper also. So after abstract, go for the introduction, write the introduction. Then after introduction, start with the review, means the body of the review. This is the body text of the review, always divided into subtopic. And here you have to address, you have to write, you have to divide the body into appropriate subtopics, and then try to explain about each point or each subtopic. Then after that, try to comment on that, because once you read the number of papers, the sort of thought process begins. And once you complete your thought process, then on that basis, try to comment on that or try to write the conclusion of it. And finally, the literatures or the references. Yeah. So here the most important thing is the plan of the work when you pursuing your research or the even the research paper. Then the most important thing is the plan of the work. The plan of the work depend on your topic, depend on your domain or the field. Means the selection of the area, the selection of the topic. If you choose the field work, then definitely you will find a little bit the different parameters. Here also, for example, field work, then first of all, as I said, the topic, selection of the topic. After selection, go for referencing. After referencing, then on the basis of the referencing, on the basis of the research gap, fix your objectives. Objectives are always 2 or 3. Never focus on more objectives. Always keep the 2 or 3 objectives. Then the kind of work you have to find out. Then detail of the area, kind of work, as I said, obviously the when it is the field work, you have to find out the various parameters. Then details of the area or the site. Again, when you find out the site, when you fix the site or the area of your work, then first of all, try to find out details of that area. Then nowadays, n number of tools are available. You can use the, for example, remote sensing or the various types of the software also available. Then once you fix the area, then the most important thing is the kind of work. What kind of work you would like to undertake? Because if you, for example, if you would like to work on the millets, then obviously you have to plan. Or if you would like to work on the herbaceous plant, specifically if you would like to work on the plateaus or the herbaceous plant, then within the specific time, here specific time is there. In that period only you will get your material. In that period only the materials are available for your experiments. So collection of the period is most important. You have to find out whether that particular crop is available in the period of Rabi area or the Rabi or the Kharif duration, or whether the plant material available in the monsoon or in the month of March or April. So collection period is most important. So again, it's based on the selection of the topic or the selection of the plant material. Then once you fix the collection period, for example, monsoon period or July to August, July to October, then obviously you have to go for the uh, various parameters. For example, if you would like to work on the vegetative, then the flowering stage, vegetative period, then post flowering, then you have to accordingly you have to fix the number of visits, because number of times the committee member asks how many times you have visited that particular area. So obviously it depends on the parameters, it depends on the experiment. So as per the need, as per the requirements, you have to fix the number of visits. Then once you fix the number of visits, then obviously the next important point is the required tools for the collection of the data. What kind of tools will be required to collect the data? Then most important thing, when the topic deals with the field work, then most of the hello, then the most of the data is based on, it's the primary data, because it directly based on the field work. So here the primary data is most important, and along with the primary data, even you can go for the secondary data or the mixed type of data. So the required tools for the collection of data is most important. Then here, whenever we says about the collection or the tools which required for the collection of data, then you have to go for both. You have to use the conventional tools and the modern tools. Conventional tools, for example, questionnaires, is conventional tools. Or directly you can go and see the person, see the people which deals with that particular topic. And modern tools, for example, remote sensing. So depending on that, depending on the topic and depending on the parameters and the objectives specifically, you have to go for, you have to use the conventional or the modern tools. Now, once you get the data, then after that, the most important thing is the processing of the data, because the interpretation of the data is most important. Here, the most important part is the interpret, how you interpret your data, what is your perception when you interpret, when you write the text. So the These tools are most important, softwares are most important. You have to choose the respective software as per your need, as per your need for the data processing. These are the few parameters which are deals with the field studies. But if you have chosen the topic specifically which deals with the laboratory work, then here you will find some kind of gaps, some kind of the differences over the field work. So here also the important things are objectives. Objectives are important whether it is the field work or the laboratory work. Then the selection of the material. This is the most important thing. If you choose a specific plant material or specific crop, then the most important thing is the authenticity of that particular plant material. You have to authenticate the plant material. You have to authenticate the species specifically, because number of times we begin this study with a specific plant species, and after a year, after 2 years, we when you go for n number of things, we realize that the species is different. So the authentication is most important in the beginning only. When you choose the plant material, that time immediately after that, the most important thing is the authentication of the plant material. So authenticate the material, whether it is the crop, whether it is the variety, or whether these are the land races, or the flowering plants, or even the non-flowering plant species. Then again the availability of the material, because here the work deals with the laboratory based on the various experiment. So again the period is most important, with that particular the material is available. Then experimental protocols. What exactly you would like to do with the plant material? Whether you would like to go for the nutritional studies, or whether you would like to go for the phytochemical studies, or whether you would like to go for metabolic studies. So these things are most important. So first of all, you have to fix the experimental protocols. So what kind of work you would like to undertake? So here again, I'll say that the objectives are most important. So always stick to objectives and the design of the experiment, and as per the need, find out the required protocols. Then the instrumentation facilities. For example, if you would like to work on the polyphenols, then definitely you will need the LCMS facilities to find out the nature of phenolic compounds, for example, polyphenols, monophenols, quantitative studies, qualitative studies. So, instrumentation facilities are most important. Obviously, uh, all the instruments you will not find at any one place. For example, if you are working in specific institute or specific college, you may not find all the instruments. You have to go for the hiring services. So before that, you have to find out the availability of instrumentation facilities. Once you find out the facilities, then the next important point is, are these hiring services? Because if you would like to go for quantitative studies of the phenolic compounds or the qualitative studies, then what are the charges per sample? If you have 10 samples, you have 20 sample, then it's a very expensive matter. Okay, unless and until you have funds, it's not possible to go for the hiring services. For example, sequencing. If you would like to go for the sequencing of two or three elite plant material or a specific species, then it's a very expensive matter unless and until you have funds. So the hiring services, these 2 points are most important. The instrumentation facilities and the hiring services, the funds which required for the hiring services. Then our next important things are the tools, as I said, the various software. Because Excel or SPSS or these tools, these softwares are not enough to process the data. If you go through the various scientific journals, then you will find various types of graphs. Most of the researchers, they put their data in specific form, in specific graphs. And if you would like to go for such kind of graphs, then it's not possible to go for such kind of graphs with the help of simple softwares or even with the help of SPSS also. So obviously you have to find out the institute, or you have to find out the person which makes you all these facilities available. So here obviously softwares are important. Then data processing. Once you collect the data from your experiment, then how you would like to process? What are your objectives? Whether you would like, for example, if you would like to compare the treatments, the effect of the treatments, then Miss ANOVA, for example, or the correlation, what exactly you would like to achieve. So the data processing is most important. In the beginning only, you have to plan the data processing also. Means whether you, what kind of the parameters required to obtain the precise results. And obviously, finally, the funding and scholarship, these two are most important. Nowadays n number of institutes are available. If you are qualified, you are up to mark, then you can apply for the funding or the scholarships. So this is about the laboratory work and the field work. uh, so once you clear all these things, after referencing, then once you complete the referencing part, while referencing, obviously refer n number of papers. Nowadays theses are also available. Then discuss with the experts, and after that prepare a blueprint of the work. Nowadays nobody prepare the blueprint of the work, but what I feel, this is the important part, because every time your supervisor or guide may not available to guide you, to share his ideas with you. So in the beginning only, if you have a blueprint of the work, then you can proceed as per your blueprint. So while preparing the blueprint of the work or your research, what are most important things? First of all, the division of work. Division of work is most important. Divide here the time management, divide the work. For example, 3 years or the 4 years, what your period required, you have to divide, means the division of the work. And at the same time, the once you complete that, then at the end of your work, do not forget about the exact research policies. For example, number of researchers, um, they have done work on the mutation and got various mutant seeds. In case of the in specifically in pulses, number of mutants, number of people, they carried out the work on the mutant, means on the mutation, and obtained the number of mutant. But once they obtain the mutant or the good quality seeds through mutation, then the what is the next? Because of lack of exit research policy, the seeds remain as it is. Seeds lost their viability, and the value of their research becomes zero. So at the end, once you complete your work, after completion, you have to write this exit research policy even in your review also, whether it is the review of the thesis or specifically. So exit research policy is most important nowadays. Remember, generally most of the students avoid this point, try avoid. They never emphasis on the exit research policy, but this is most important point, because after your research, after your PhD, you can work on the same topic, because once you complete the PhD, then you understood well how to do work, how to work on the various issues. And for that, again, I will say the exit research policy is the most important. Then while preparing the blueprint at the end of the review of the work, and when you while preparing the blueprint of the work, always you have to remember the socio-economic importance or the value of your research work. If there is no output, if the work does not deals with the problems of the society, I'm not saying the society only, n number of areas are there. First thing is that means your research must be contribute to science. If it's not possible, then you have to think over your topic, your research area. Then something, I'm not saying the absolute 100%, but at least 1%, 2%, there must be some kind of contribution. Number two, then the a particular ecosystem. If not the science, then how your work is helpful to ecosystem, particular ecosystem. Then the third important point is the economy, means the society, means the welfare of the human being, obviously, then the ecosystem, and finally the economy. These three important points, or these three parameters are most important when you think specifically for the socio-economic importance of your work. So remember, prepare the blueprint of the work. So once you prepare the blueprint of the work, at the same time, keep the B plan ready. For example, if you would like to, if you are working on the specific area and you won't get the appropriate result, or you won't get the expected results, once you won't get the expected result, then yes, keep some gap, some keep space, okay, which will allow you to switch over to the B plan. So keep B plan also ready. So definitely the B plan will support your work. So always give priority for the A plan, and at the same time also keep B plan ready. But whenever we prepare the blueprint, obviously remember it depends on, again I am telling you, referencing is most important, review of literature is most important, review of literature, then your objectives, and finally the outcome.